All right, ladies and gentlemen, Fab's in the house, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I got three beauties right over here. This is going to be a stellar comparison review because we're going to be comparing these three layers, three tiers of Shirogorov knives for the same model. So we get to see stellar. In this case, you get three levels, which are the three tiers. There's another one which is cheaper, but let's say this is the regular production or so-called first production stellar, and it's like a production model, so it is a limited amount, a limited number production, because there's going to be around 100 of these made because it's the first production. So this is a little bit higher level of the regular three bears, the regular production tier for the Shirogorov, which usually sporting a multi-row bearing system, M390 steel, and like some internal milling on the scales to reduce the weight. In this case, you get all that, but you get some improvements. Like, for example, you get an S90V steel for the blade. You get this very subtle dual anodization. You can see the blue on the ridges, a little bit of bronze. You get a nice dual tone finish on the handle, and that's like a premium feature. And that's pretty much the production level. The next level is the custom division level. So here you get some improvements. For example, there's of course different milling going on between these two guys. But for example, one difference you can see right away is the pivot. Look at that. Like both are non-spinning pivot. This is a captive pivot system, CPS. So it's just scalloped. It's just shaped in a way so that it doesn't turn because of the like how the pivot sits in the shape of the handle socket. So it's not going to be able to spin. In this case, and in that case, you get a ball bearing which is attached to the pivot screw, which has a spot, like an indentation correspondent on the scale. So you're gonna have the non-spinning pivot. So both custom division, production, and I mean not both, like the three of them and full custom are sporting non-spinning pivot at this point. There are some older production models that are equipped with a spinning pivot, so just be careful with that because you approach the pivot from this side. Just squeeze the blade like that, so the blade just squeezes up against the stop pin, so it doesn't allow for the pivot to spin. So just squeeze that and just unscrew the pivot, so you're going to be able to maintain also your previously released production models. So, another little difference on the pivot, usually you see pivot collars, for example, let's see, in this case right over here, you get to see some pivot collar around the pivot. In this case, you do not have a pivot collar around the pivot, but you have you see a nice dual tone finish pivot, some bronze anodization on the chamfer, and just this matte finish on the pivot, both sides, of course. Another difference is that you disassemble the custom division from the back, not from the front. This is a full pivot screw. Same thing goes for the full custom. This is a full screw, and you get the access on the back. Opposite story for the production, just like that. It's just blind on the lock side. Some other differences that you can see right away from the custom division to the production is the level of finishing that goes on in the handles. Like it's just a premium feel that you get when you touch this compared to this guy. Another little difference between these two layers, tiers, it's the change of the body screw. As you can see, also in the full custom, it's absent. So you get to see on the back that you get three different blind screw and not spinning. This is regular custom division bit, which is spinning, as well as this guy with the duck foot hardware. So you get a different setup for the body screw for these three tiers, of course. Lanyard hole stays in the same place. The chamfers, the milling, of course, is changing. So you get a flat surface for the three of them. You get 3D contoured, scalloped edges, let's say like that. In this custom division, you don't get this milled out area here. And if you see, this is a little bit different as well, kind of like straight and more curved into the custom division. And the full custom is still different, just completely straight. Another little difference you see is, of course, the milling that is absent here and just present on the nicely concave chamfers. Right over here, you just see it on the flats with this diagonal crosshatch kind of pattern. The sprint run of this fella has just the opposite, like the complementary pattern right over here, and Dama Steel Beta. I think that's beautiful, just missing right over here. And this fella has another fantastic milling going on the flats. Right there. If you go like on the back of the knife, you get to see some other differences. You have slightly different configuration because you have, for example, these two fellas. You're gonna see a little bit different spacer floating, kinda. You see full floating on the right, custom division, just like just opposed to the scales on the first production on the left. Pretty little detail, a little bit narrower, of course, on the custom division right over here compared to the first production. And the full custom actually is sporting 4 pins right over here. And the spacer, of course, is another upgrade because it's like fully floating, and it has an extra part right at the end. Look at that. That's a little nice detail. So the flipper tabs are pretty much the same. There is not much besides the stock thickness. It's pretty much unchanged between across the three tiers, let's say, except for the little chamfer, which I would say maybe it's a little bit wider. Kind of a little bit wider on the full custom, but yeah, we are there. I mean, not too crazy. The pocket clip, of course, is different. In the three of them, you get this very micro milled and straight and flat, resting on a deeper pocket on the lock side scale compared to this guy. Pretty different. The pocket on the first production is milled, whereas it's just flat on the custom division. And you get an indentation right over here, an extra layer of milling on the clip for the custom division and for the full custom as well, which is, again, another layer of milling inside the milled pocket and curved milling, as opposed to these two straight diagonal lines on the custom division. So pretty neat details. Of course, the milling on the scales on the clip side matches the front side, of course. Another little difference, because these are all inset locks. So actually the pocket of the custom and the division and the full custom is pretty much the same. Another little difference, of course, you get this gorgeous pivot collar in Zirku tie with this yellow, this blue. This is just milled. It's just fantastic. I mean, just crazy. But another little difference that I noticed is the this apron right over here is just a little bit different in these two. These two guys. You can see there's just a microscopic difference right at the end. It's just a little bit smaller on the full custom, but nothing too crazy. I guess we are ready to open the blade, right, guys? I just want to show you like a perspective right from this point where you can see the centering back spacer that is going on like that on the first production, look at this custom division right over here. And the full custom actually is sporting an extra pin, so it gets a fifth one right over here. Another little difference right there. So the other obvious difference is the blade finish and the blade steel. In this case, you get S90V steel, which is an upgrade to the classic M390 that you would get on a production level. And here, of course, you have an upgrade to M398 and really a dual tone finish with the satin flats and this kind of more finely blasted primary bevel. As you can see, it's a little bit different right there. For sure, you get, dual tone finish. It's pretty cool with these satin flats. And right over here, you get to see this blade right over here. I don't know if you can appreciate, maybe like that. It is a scratched mirror, smoky mirror, S125V mirror polished blade. It's just gorgeous. Another little difference that you might like to check is the blade stock and the spacer thickness, because this spacer feels a little bit thicker. And let me grab the caliper here and zero it. So let's see how are we doing. Oops, with the full custom, we get like a 3.9 millimeter blade. For the custom division, you get a 3.2, let's say 3.15 millimeter stock, and for the first production, you get a 3.3. So the custom division has the thinner stock, so it's going to be probably the most, the sliciest one. Another very interesting difference is the sound that this guy makes, and it's different, guys. Beside the feel, which is just very, very different, this is how a first production Stellar sounds. Very dry sound. Love it. Shwick. Ooh, really, really cool. That's the custom division. Deeper sound, quieter, less swoosh. The action also, you get to appreciate multi-row bearing system, MRBS, single row roller bearing system, SRRBS, and you get the dual row roller bearing system, DRRBS, in this even, quieter. And I mean, very, very different feel in the hand across the lineup of Shirogorov is like very hard to describe. You gotta try this in your hand and feel for yourself what it means to go from ball bearings to roller bearings to double row roller bearings. The difference between these two guys is like really evident. Between these two is less evident, but still you get to feel something different when you just do this. It's something different. When Sergei touches a knife, I don't know what kind of magic is just sprinkling into them. It's making the difference. So that is another just gorgeous one. I mean, of course, these are all fantastic knives. The price, it just goes exponentially. It's just not linear. You get a little bit of improvements. For example, you get a zirconium spacer. Of course, you get these materials, S125V steel. You get the upgrades from tier to tier. And you have also to upgrade the price you're gonna pay, because they are getting very, very expensive as you go towards that way. But it's something that it's gonna give you joy and it's gonna hold the value. So if you are feeling to start, just grab one of these. If you're already into this, you gotta try one of those, because you're gonna have your mind blown. Because if you're used to this guy, this is gonna be like fantastic. If you're at this level and you want to try that, just be careful because that's gonna get very expensive like real quick. But up to this level, if you stay there, you're gonna be so happy, and really, you're not gonna break the bank. It's gonna you're gonna have to commit and spend a lot of money anyways, because these are expensive knives, even for the production, even for the cheapest of this bunch. But still, they are exceptional. So you're not gonna regret it. So there you have it. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned.